Lobster Magnet. Lobster's a 10 I told you grab it.
Hey guys, before we move on to your regularly scheduled video blog review content, just a quick special announcement. Because everything is a contest and life is nothing but a giant tournament arc, I've decided to steal Exclamation Point's gimmick of staging an imaginary subscriber tournament battle for YouTube supremacy. That's right, I'm coming for you, Exclamation Point. We shall meet in the fields of Valhalla, weapons in hand as we face off in a video essay showdown to once and for all determine who is the champion, who shall walk away from the fields of battle in unending internet glory. So how about you? Give me everything you... Oh god. Oh god, Jesus Christ. He is over 60,000 subscribers. Crap. Okay, there's no way I'm ever going to compete with that. Okay, so Mr. Punctuation Face is a bit out of my league, but that doesn't mean I can't start from the bottom, because every underdog's gotta start somewhere. And stick around, folks, because the first match is gonna be a good one. My first opponent is the YouTube channel for a company I used to work for. They only have around 2,700 subs, but this fight is personal, because I wasted a year and a half of my life being yelled at by the CEO who constantly told me how my content wasn't up to his company's illustrious standards, which mostly consisted of this.
Jarek Media, Digital Lab, Studies, Series Language Protocols. Juan.
Yes, that's right. That's how Mr. Wall Street thinks he can win the internet. It's been my dream to crush him with my YouTube channel and to do what they couldn't accomplish over the past 2 years. So hit that subscriber count. Let's show them who's got the real eye of the tiger. This is my first opponent on the YouTube ladder of success. This is the Spider Rico fight I need to win as I climb up the ladder towards turning this into a full-time career. So if you don't want to let that douchebag Wall Street millionaire win, then hit that subscribe button, and as soon as we win this fight, I'll let you guys know who the next opponent is. Now back to your regularly scheduled video blog review content. Hey, welcome to Lobster Magnets Review the Channel, the review. I'm here with my buddy Gorogregoro.
Yo.
And we had a little bit of a forced My Hero Academia break. We tried to fill the hole, the Medora-sized hole, the Deku-sized hole in our hearts with the Death Note movie. That was a terrible decision. That was not a good choice.
Yeah, but at least now we know that it's bad, so we got that out of the way.
Yeah, we were always going to review it, and I guess you could say that was like fate, God, the universe, whoever your deity of choice, handing us the opportunity to watch the Death Note movie, and we took it. But hey, now we're back to superhero fun time. So what was this, episode 21?
Yep, episode 21.
Episode 21, we're getting towards the end of the season, and now we sort of like laying forward how the final arc of the season is going to play out. So what do you think of this exam?
This is actually kind of a fun idea for an exam. I really like it. It reminds me of, you know, with Naruto, where like where Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura are trying to get Itachi.
The bell exercise from Kakashi.
Yeah, Kakashi.
Yeah, I guess you're right. It is very similar to that in terms of like, you know, having all the pro heroes face off against you know, the poor little students, and they're all horribly outmatched because they all have better quirks and more life experience. And you know, obviously this was not like, you know, a super killer episode, but it was definitely a fun setup episode in terms of like, now we know who all the matchups are, we know what they're gonna, and we also that cute little segment where we see how everyone in the class is doing in terms of who has like the best rank and who doesn't.
Yeah, that was also kind of interesting to see, like, you know, which personalities like had like the higher grades or able to do well in written tests, and which personalities were like really nervous about the physical exams.
And which were just like the dum-dums who couldn't study at all. But surprisingly, Bakugo was like number 3 or so. He was like really high.
He was like number 4 or 5.
Yeah, he was like really up there, surprisingly enough, even though you'd think he'd be like, you know, I don't care, all I need is explosions. I'm the biggest douche nozzle ever.
Yeah. And Deku was pretty high too, I believe. So, yeah, that was kind of interesting to see, you know, Bakugo isn't just like all angry talk. He actually like studies hard as well. Is
Yeah,
interesting.
that's a sort of interesting thing about Bakugo's sort of. God, I want to do a video at some point, and I already have the best title. I call it the explosive subtlety of Bakugo's character development or
Okay.
character arc, in the sense that like he is kind of like very concerned about being a hero and very studious and very demanding of himself, but like the only way he knows how to express himself most of the time is like yelling and screaming and saying, "Ah, you're gonna die, you little shit!" And like the biggest moments of his character development are when he's not yelling and screaming, when he's just like being quiet.
Yeah. Um, I'm sure we'll see like some major character growth between Midora and Bakugo while they're fighting All Might in this
Yeah,
next episode.
that was a nice little reveal. That like oh they're tackling All Might. They're gonna be fucked. They've got like probably the worst teacher that they could face off against, even if he is like kind of crippled.
Yeah, but this is like that was really exciting when I first saw that. It was like, oh my god, he's teamed up with Bakugo. Oh my god, they're teaming up to beat All Might. Oh, of all people, jeez.
Yeah, it was a good scene in the manga, and I think it'll be even better in the anime. I'm looking forward to seeing it animated. I think it's going to be like the best way you could like end the season on a nice little sort of bang. Even though this is kind of like obviously not as dramatic as the tournament or the hero killer. But it's high stakes for the students because it's a big threshold they need to pass now that they're like in a actual combat test.
Yeah, I mean, this is like what the second kind of combat test that they've done before.
Well, what was the first one? Was it just like the training exercise?
Like the one where they're fighting against all the robots, like the entrance exam.
The entrance exam.
So I guess this is like, well, no. There was that one time when they were supposed to like do like there was like a capture the flag kind of exercise as well.
Well, they were like just kind of like fighting each other, but that wasn't like against like more experienced people.
Right.
That was like against just like the other students who were all kind of shitty, and versus like these are the pro heroes. These are the ones that know their shit and are all seasoned with their quirks and are all have really good quirks and badass designs, and oh my god, they're all fucked.
Yeah. You know why, like, one of the reasons why I really like this concept is like is because it's gonna show like it's gonna show us like how big a gap like the power levels are between like pro heroes and like the students.
Well,
Basically.
it's interesting you should mention power levels because, like, I don't know, in the My Hero Academia universe, is like you got your quirk and you're kind of stuck with it. It's like, as of right now, there really isn't like a Gear 1, 2, or 3 equivalent or Super Saiyan levels. It's just sort of like, can you train your quirk to such a high degree that you get rid of whatever downside it has, or get a piece of support equipment. But I guess sort of like it's a level of experience in terms of like how the quirks react. Although it's always something I kind of like worry about for the series' long-term growth in terms of like. You've given these characters very kind of limited powers, and you're not as clever as Oda is in terms of like coming up with crazy shit for them to do. Mm-hmm. So like, what is the Kirishima, the little red-haired guy that people love? He hardens. So what's his power up? He's gonna harden even more. Which it actually that does happen. He does harden more, and it's kind of like a big moment.
Is it like his major power is like becoming an even stronger Metapod, like from Pokemon?
I guess, yeah. Like he's like using steel twice. So I kind of like obviously though for like Midora, like, and hasn't happened in the manga, so this is I can't say I'm spoiling anything, but there's a subtle implication that like maybe once he masters all for one for all, he'll get like a muscle form, and that'll be like him going Super Saiyan.
Yeah. Okay.
That's to be confirmed, but like obviously, that would be like a super badass moment where like all hope is lost, and then he's just like concentrating really hard. I'm gonna turn up one for all for 100%. My body can finally take it, and then he just like poofs up and he gets like a muscle form.
Yeah. That'd be kind of interesting. Yeah, I mean, I could see that. Yeah.
But like, let's take fan favorite character Tsuyu, the frog girl. Like, what do you think her? How do you power up frogginess? What is the tier 2 of frogginess?
I don't know. Being able to spit out frog juice, like at people, jump really far and super quick, and like use the power of your frog legs to like kick people to death. I don't know.
It's hard. It's hard to come up with like convincing power-ups for. You see, that sort of reveals the larger challenge that poor Hirokoshi's kind of like saddled himself with.
Mm.
But we'll see. In some ways, he overcomes it. In other points, I'm still a little bit worried. But this is definitely like a good point in terms of like, seeing all the students and what they're capable of, and also showing off some more of the teachers that we haven't really seen.
Mm. That's interesting that you say that. It's like he basically has only focused so far on like people's quirks. But then like okay, there's also like the supportive items that could eventually play a bigger role later on in the series, right?
Yeah, the supportive items are basically like, augmentations of like you add your costume, and that's like a decent way of like coming up with cool power-up systems in terms of like, creating stuff that like supports people.
Yeah, I think that could be interesting, like as a way to power up each character. Sorry, my phone. But yeah, that's interesting because like for now we're mostly focusing on quirks, but with like another series, let's say like Hunter x Hunter, it's like a general thing is like
I wouldn't even compare like fucking My Hero Academia's powers to like fucking Hunter x Hunters.
Yeah, like generally you can like train yourself in a general aspect with like Nen, but here there's no like doesn't seem to be any general training.
Yeah, that's interesting that you should mention that. There is no overall power system. There's no like energy or stamina. There's no chakra. There's no Nen. There's no ki. There's no Reiatsu. Yeah, that's actually a really interesting point that like I don't think I've ever seen anyone else bring up is the fact that like. Usually in most shonen power systems, you have like this general magical energy, magic, whatever the fuck you want to call it from, and use that as the building blocks to like justify all of the power. And usually it's kind of very open, so it gives you a lot of shit you can do.
Exactly.
While My Hero Academia, they don't really have that. They just have like X-Men mutant superpowers. And some people get really interesting X-Men mutant superpowers, like Todoroki with his fire and ice. And obviously there's a lot of shit you can do with that. And then you're just, fucking Frog Girl or tape guy.
Yeah. Like imagine if Tape like had to use up chakra, like expending tape from your elbows had to use up chakra.
Well, that is interesting that Hirokoshi does do. He's like he does give limitations. So, for an example, in the one fight we saw with Kirishima and like the sugar guy, the sugar guy gets really strong when he eats sugar, but the more sugar he gets, the dumber he gets, and tired he gets.
Yeah, yeah, that's also kind of interesting, and also with Todoroki, when he was using his ice powers mostly, like his whole body was getting cold as well. So there's like a limit to like how much ice he can use at a single time.
Yeah, and how much cold he can endure.
Yes. So it's like, he has sort of tied like quirks as like a physical kind of
Yeah, extension
physical-
of your body, and like
Yeah.
you have limits of what you can do, and what separates like the pro heroes is that assumingly they've trained their limits to the point where they're almost superhuman or they seem like they're endless, versus like the neophyte student heroes who obviously have lots of limitations.
Yeah. And
Except for douches like Bakugo, who, as far as we've seen, has very few limitations with his explosions.
I mean, he has expressed before is like he can only expend so much explosive energy at once. I think when fighting Gravity Girl.
Yeah, he had like a point where he's like he was like kind of like recoiling from the blast, and there was a sense that he was like being fatigued.
Mm-hmm.
But which one of these matchups are you most excited for, given all the teams?
I don't know. It's like I'm kind of curious what announcer guy is gonna be able to do. I'm curious about Eraserhead. I'm curious about like skin tight cloth girl. Like what her powers are gonna be, especially against perverted purple ball dude. And of course, All Might, Bakugo, and Deku. Like that's like a really big fight.
That's obviously going to be the signature one. I'm sure they're going to like pull out all the best animators on that, all the greatest key animators, and it's going to be filled with gifs, and it's going to look like the coolest, most awesome thing we've ever seen.
I'm just really excited because the teachers are going to be like beating the shit out of these kids and also like teaching lessons about like how to use their quirks better. I think that's going to be a really great point in the series.
Yeah, it'll definitely be like the best point you could probably end season 3 at, and just sort of like give it like a really cool end, a little flashy thing. Because overall this has been a really strong season. Like the tournament arc was great, Stain was great. Well, this is more of a transitional episode. You were excited. It was like, oh, Midora and Deku are gonna have to like work together, and they're against All Might.
Yeah, exactly. And you think this is gonna be like the season finale, like this arc?
Yeah, I think so. Like I've said before, there's like one moment I'm really hoping that they animate, and that'll be where they end it. That's where my fingers are crossed. But if they end it before that, it would also be like a good place to end it. But like, it's interesting. Like this arc isn't super long in the manga, but we only have like, this is episode 21, and I think we're getting like 25 or 26 episodes for like the second season. Let me check. But definitely, like, we're getting some good material. But this is obviously coming to an end, and then it'll be the waiting game, and then we'll get an announcement for season 3 sometime next year, and it'll be good since it'll give the manga some time to get ahead, because this trend is working out really well.
We're still a little bit ways behind from like where the manga is at right now, though, right?
Well, let's see. Right now, that's a really good question. The manga just hit, I think, chapter 151. So it's at chapter 151. And if I had to guess, I think we're on like chapter 50 or something.
It seems like a pretty decent pace, actually.
Yeah, it's a good pace, and there's a decent enough buffer, so it doesn't feel like. Let's see. Yeah, so all right, so like around chapter 64, 62.
I have to say, this may be like the best paced manga to anime adaptation like that I've seen for any manga to anime.
It is really, really good. Like, I think it's doing a great job. The only thing is, like, I'd say, like, the Hunter x Hunter adaptation, the 2011 one, I think it was, like, really, really good.
Yeah, but, like, I guess, yes, this is, I'm saying, yes, this is, like, that was probably good too. I haven't watched all that yet, but like this is both good and like more specifically, I mean like it's really well paced.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. It
so
has been.
it has like a lot of buffer from the manga material, and it doesn't like it's not waiting too long between like seasons to for the next season.
Yeah, because hopefully if they keep up this pace and we get like spring 2018 season 3, then like it's the perfect pace in terms of like giving people enough to keep them satiated, but not like going like extending like doing like an episode every day, every week for 52 weeks of the year, which is an insane pace, and pretty much like is a kind of like a killer in the shonen and manga world. Given the fact that we've seen so many terrible filler arcs or things that are like stretched so much that we all know the classic One Piece like, oh, let's have the goons talk about obvious things. Oh my God, Luffy broke the bridge. Now we gotta walk across find a way around the bridge. And then they have that like running sound effect of like people running, and then they've like got the guys who like with the swords.
God.
Like, "Argh, argh."
Oh God, I know that running sound effect too well. It's like
yeah.
something like that.
The generic goon sword fucking.
Oh, let me see if I can make the sword sound effects. No, wait, that sounds like bottles.
Yeah, that sounds like bottles. What you have something?
Wait.
Are you gonna use your katana? Did you use the One Piece sword sound effects?
To scrape.
I don't think you're gonna be able to without like causing some damage to something. Not quite. It is a valiant effort, Greg.
Whoops.
It is always like a clang. It's great that like My Hero Academia doesn't have to worry about that problem. Although, what would you rate this episode? Because this was still like a transitional episode.
This episode got me really excited for what's gonna come next. So, I don't know. I think I give it like a 9.
What? That high? I think it was like at least a solid 8, maybe a 7.5, but like around 8. It was a fun episode, but why? Just because you're like that excited for like the Bakugo and Midora versus All Might fight?
Yeah, I mean, just because it's a transitional episode, like what it's trying to do is like trying to hype you up for like the big. But
moments. You didn't like the last transitional episode that they had. You were like, "Oh, I don't like it," even though that was the episode that gave us all the juicy lore about like the origin of All for One and the legacy of the evil villain that is like working behind the scenes and is the big figure behind everything.
I guess maybe because there's a lot of factors in that. One, last week's filler kind of like threw me off, and like the timing of that. 2, there was that sort of random thing of like, oh, let's have Deku show off like his new abilities to the rest of his class. Yeah, kind of part of that episode, right?
Yeah.
And then, which I thought was a little bit like, you're just showing off Deku's abilities. You're not showing off anybody else's like what they learn in the internships. I thought that would have been more a more well-rounded idea for that episode. And then the other thing is that I knew about All for One.
So I kind of ruined that for you, but don't you like to see the hype train for him? Because like we're not going to see him this season, but when he hits. Like I think that's going to be an all-timer. People are going to be losing their shit when they like have that big moment that I love so much in my best viewed video so far.
Yeah, I'll be pretty excited to see that sequence animated.
That sequence is going to be fucking amazing. I'm sure they're going to like bring out their best people. It's not going to be like the fucking guts, using the Berserker armor sequence that we love to hate so much.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's gonna be the stuff of legends. But yeah, I'm surprised, but it was definitely like feels like the hype train is building up. We're getting builded up. Things are getting exciting again as we kind of build up to the point where we're going to.
Yeah, just like so many things like that could happen in the next episode. That's why I rate this one so high, because a Razorhead against Todoroki, and the girl who's like lacking in confidence in her abilities. Like there's all sorts of like interesting character moments that can play out in just that one like fight sequence alone. And
yeah, well, she's interesting because like I think she is like one of the better quirks in the ones. Obviously, she's like a pinup girl because she's like the big boobed classroom girl, so she's gonna get all the fan art about her. But I always thought that like she had like one of the more interesting creative quirks in the series. That like, oh, she can make anything out of herself. So it's a quirk that's like really versatile. But,
it's like a really overpowered quirk if she was able to use it like well. But
she's lacking confidence.
Yeah, she's lacking confidence, and this will be interesting how Todoroki teams up with her to fight a Razorhead guy.
Well, the interesting thing about that matchup is that, like, technically speaking, they both have, like, probably two of, like, the best quirks of the classroom, and they're being paired up against the hero that takes away quirks. So the central idea of that fight is that, like, what will they learn to do without their quirks, or will they be able to, like, think on their feet without, like, relying upon it?
Yeah. And that'd be pretty cool to see, actually. Just that, and it's just like one particular fight that is very interesting too. But there's all sorts of other fights that could turn out to be interesting. Like we get to see what the hell announcer guy does. Why?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe he shoots sound waves because he's the fucking announcer guy.
Is that actually what happens? Is that?
It's something similar to that. I forget, but like I think his quirk was pretty fucking obvious. He's got like a giant boombox on himself, and he like yells all the time. So I think you can pretty much guess that announcer guy is gonna have like a fucking I talk really loud quirk.
Yeah. Okay. Well. God, that would be so lame. I mean, that does sound kind of lame, but.
What do you think he is? What quirk do you think you would? Everything you can tell from his fucking character.
I mean, I thought it would be sounds. I thought it'd be sound something, but he maybe do something a little bit more interesting with sound. I don't know. I thought it'd be like, that hidden hidden gem or whatever, of like he can do something interesting with his sound. He's actually sort of has a sort of interesting ability, even though he was like a generic announcer dude in the tournament arc.
Maybe when they actually animate it, it'll be cool. But like, it's pretty much like I speak really loudly, and I create sonic booms. It's like pretty much like what you see is what you get. One you should be more interested is what's the principal capable of, the weird like mouse principal.
Okay, well. I mean, I'm sure he'll have some interesting ability, but I don't know what the hell he's gonna do. I just don't know what the hell he does. He's just a mouse person right now.
Yeah, this weird mouse dog man.
For all I know, he has like the mouse fruit. He's just like he can be a mouse and do anything a mouse can. Just like Frog Girl.
You'll see soon enough. I think you'll be pleased, or like you'll find it very interesting once his quirk is revealed, in all its quirkiness. All right, so you gave it a 9. I gave it an 8. I don't think it deserved a 9, but it was definitely a good, fun episode. That's leading into like the end of the arc and a good like sort of climax to the end of their arc. To see if like Midoriya's growth can exceed or match All Might, even though All Might is like. Has a double handicap in the sense that his like strength is waning, and he's got like the weight restrictions.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I wonder how easy the teachers will go on them. Probably not. Hopefully, not too easy at all.
Well, the cement guy, he didn't really have to try hard. He just like, the two basic guys thought they could just like punch through shit, and eventually their stamina went down to the point where they were like knocked down. So, I guess that's sort of an indication of like how hardcore they're going to be. But it was definitely a fun episode. So you excited or you sad that we're getting towards the end of My Hero Academia?
Well, I'm getting pretty excited for this next coming episode, but well, like I said earlier, My Hero doesn't have like too many like crazy like long-lasting plot threads going on.
All the storylines are kind of short and sweet. They get to the point and they don't overstay their welcome, which you could say is like refreshing versus like something like the Dressrosa arc, which goes on forever and ever and ever. God, like 1/8 of the manga was in Dressrosa.
That's actually pretty scary thinking about that.
It started in like chapter 700 and it ended in chapter like 800.
Oh my god. Oh my god, that is horrifying.
that is pretty fucking terrifying, right?
And it wasn't even like that. It was like one of the weakest arcs, I think. I
don't know if it was the weakest arc. I think
one of the weakest, I think, in One Piece. Like One Piece has had some pretty strong arcs.
I think Dressrosa had some really good elements. Like, the Law backstory was pretty fucking great. The Luffy acquiring his grand fleet was interesting. The god Usopp was a great moment. Usopp gaining observation haki is another great moment. But then there was like a lot of draggy stuff. Like, there was the stupid tournament. Oh yeah, and Sabo coming back was a pretty fucking big deal.
Sabo coming back. Okay, yeah, there were some good moments. But, I thought the tournament arc was kind of fun. Like at first.
It took too long. There were too many stupid mooks that nobody cared about. And then I think the biggest drag was like the whole Cryos and Rebecca and like the Dressrosa Kingdom storyline that was like just felt like a retread of Arabasta, and Arabasta did it better.
Yeah, they kind of did.
And then there's also like the sort of like disappointment that like the way Luffy beats Doflamingo isn't just like a bro punch down fight, and like Doflamingo should not have been like the kind of character who like has like a big bro punch out fight. He's a manipulator. He pulls the strings. He's not someone who you should like be punching. Luffy should have had to outsmart him or something.
Or yeah, something like that, because like the mass manipulator guy should be like trying to manipulate like the entire Straw Hat crew against him.
Yeah,
and like have like the Straw Hat crew fight Luffy instead of actually him. And then once Luffy did hit him, like it hit him like super hard.
Yeah, and he's like not used to taking damage, and that like he's like, oh god, I don't like physical pain.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's how this that end fight should have went.
Actually, it's kind of funny. The more I think about it, that Cracker fight is like more what I think the Doflamingo fight should have been like.
Interesting. Like Luffy just like figures out a way to like eat Cracker.
Well, the idea is that like Cracker says that like I can barely have a shot. I hate pain, so I'm just gonna hide behind all these like Cracker dudes. And you're in Gear 4 and you could barely take one. So here's like 1 billion of them. I can just make them endlessly. So fuck you.
Right. Okay.
Basically, that's what Doflamingo should have been. He should have been like a weak glass cannon hidden behind strings and manipulation, and when you actually like hit him, it's like this really satisfying thing versus like, oh, Doflamingo can take 5 bajillion fucking elephant gun attacks.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree, 100%.
But anyway, we digress. The My Hero Academia arcs are short and sweet. They're in and out. They don't waste our time. They're good stuff, and it's good to see that the series is like getting the hype it deserves. And who knows, maybe by next year we'll all be sick of the My Hero Academia fandom as it goes into overdrive.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, it's not because I dislike the fact that, I mean, okay, I have to say, like, I'm not anticipating like My Hero Academia as much for like next season because I'm cherishing these like short and sweet moments with it, but with something like, let's say, Hunter x Hunter, which is ending, which is like on hiatus again.
Yeah.
I am just like, it drives me crazy because there's like all this complicated story shit that's happening already, and I want to know, what happens. But what's like, My Hero, there's nothing like that, like engaging in terms of the story yet.
Well, true, because like My Hero is like much simpler than fucking Hunter x Hunter.
Yeah, it's like basically night and day when it comes to like story.
But like My Hero, as I've said many times, it's a very earnest series. It like plays it very straight, and because it plays it straight, it feels like a big palate cleanser versus like, things that are trying to be edgy or things that are trying to be etchy. And it's funny. Like My Hero Academia is very tasteful with its fan service, or technically you could say it really isn't much fan service outside of like the character designs.
Yeah,
mostly.
Yeah, I suppose so.
Like, you'll get a curvaceous figure or maybe like a busty heroine, but you don't really have any like, oh, I'm falling into her panties. Oh.
Yeah, exactly. Nothing that tasteless at all, really. So, yeah.
Like,
what was
even like the like, I'm gonna go peep in on the girls' room immediately gets interrupted by like the earphone girl, and she like pokes his eye out.
Yeah. Yeah, that was kind of a funny little gag. Where it's like, is trying to go like more on the edge of like, we could be a more perverted series if we do this, but no, we're just gonna, be, a little bit cleaner, a little bit.
I think that really helps with the series material, though. Well, I think it helps with the series appeal that, like, it's very classy since it allows people to like sort of fetishize the characters, but they don't feel dirty about it because like the series doesn't do it. So they're given permission to do whatever the hell they want with like Frog Girl or Ochika or Yazar Creation Girl.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I agree. This is like some this series is like a palate cleanser for sure.
Yeah, and definitely, doing a good job. So 9 for you, 8 for me. We're excited to see the All Might fight next weekend, and hopefully no, we probably won't see it next weekend. We'll probably see some other fights, but this will be a good final end of the arc, and let's just hope we get like an amazing scene like when the hero killer, or like fucking Shoto versus Midora. We get some great new music track. We get some awesome animation, and we go pump our fists in there and say hell yeah, plus ultra.
Yeah. Yeah, if you want to say plus ultra really loud, in front of everybody that you know.
That's not the worst thing they'll yell out versus like, Excelsior or whatever dumb catchphrase.
Plus ultra.
You don't like it when your media gives you those fuck yeah moments and you're just like, yeah.
I'll give like silent fist pump here and there every now and then. I'll be like, yes.
I mean, I'll be honest, I don't do it that often, but like, whenever Blackbeard comes in One Piece, that's when I get like a
Yeah.
Okay. That's enough to warrant that enthusiasm. Like, oh god, I remember I was like working on like the Bill Cunningham show ages ago, and like I was like reading the manga on my phone, and it was like the chapter when like Blackbeard like breaks into Impel Down, and he's that like badass like villain walking, and I was like, fuck yeah, out loud.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, I was like so happy about that. All right, so what do you think we should shill? What do you think is a good shilling point? Let me see. I wonder if they have any good All Might merchandise on fucking Amazon.
Oh, so yeah, then people can double team beating up All Might.
Yep.
The All Might merchandise.
So what do you think is better? I've got well, this is kind of cute. I've got an All Might pop vinyl figurine, or I can have an All Might T-shirt saying "Training to beat All Might." Actually, yeah, I think that's probably the most appropriate thing. Or training to be the next All Might. You think that should be motivational fitness one?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Yeah, okay. So we're gonna have that shirt, training to be the next All Might. So because obviously poor Midora and good old Bakugo are working their asses off, training to fight All Might, and now they actually have to fight him, and shit's gonna go down. And so buy this shirt so you can motivate yourself to go to the gym and become like All Might or Saitama, who also went to the gym and attained his 1,000% power by doing push-ups and squats and fucking running 3 miles a day.
Have you ever watched that series, One Punch Man?
Yeah. I eventually watched the dub.
Oh, did you like it?
Yeah, well, my issue with One Punch Man is I thought it was a really well done series, but like I said, and the reason why I don't really follow the manga is I feel like it's the same joke being told over and over again.
Yeah.
And even if you animate that joke the best you can, it's the same fucking joke again and again and again. You're going to throw something that's incredible and super mega hyper awesome at Saitama, and he's going to be super nonchalant, and then he's going to maybe have a badass scene where he's animated, and then he's going to crush it.
Did you see Super Eye Patch's Wolf about One Punch Man?
Yeah, it was a great video. I've seen some videos about One Punch Man breaking it down on a deeper level, but I still in my heart of hearts feel like it's the same joke being told again and again.
Yeah. Well, yeah, the manga has been dipping down in quality for a bit for me for a while, but I'm still following it every now and then. But yeah.
So any final thoughts before we leave these fine people who've sat around to listen to us muse about My Hero Academia?
The series is really good. I think people should check it out. See what it's all about.
Bet you there's going to be a shit ton of cosplay at New York Comic Con for My Hero Academia. It's just going to explode. There's going to be a whole bunch of it. I think even at San Diego Comic Con there was a huge group of people. And I was amazed. I was seeing photo ops of the later characters who aren't in the anime yet getting cosplay treatment. I was yeah, there's that guy. Ooh, I'd give that guy a pat on the shoulder for cosplaying that guy.
Yeah, we still need to see Duct Tape Man, of course. Cosplayed.
Maybe you can, make the Duct Tape Man cosplay dream come true, and then there'll be one guy who's "Oh my God, Duct Tape Man, Sarah's the best. Thank you for cosplaying him. You made my day."
And you have to smile in a certain way,
Is that your Duct Tape Man smile?
Yeah, something like that. He's
yeah, he does have some interesting looking teeth. All right, so thank you for sitting around and watching this video. Like, comment, subscribe, and remember, lobster's antennas, but don't you grab it.
Lobsters made of light.